Okay, so we are on Daf Nun Amud Beis, the second to the last line. Gufa Amarav Ein Machzikin the Nichse Eshes. We're not Machzik the Nichse Eshes. You cannot be Machzik the Nichse Eshes. We have already discussed what that means. That means while she's married, is what we learned last. Vidayane Goyla Amri. The Dayane Goyla. Who are the Dayane Goyla? The Dayanim from the Goyla. Zokt Rashbam Shmuel and his Kaina. The Pekrishan to Sanhedrin. They said Machzikin. In fact, as the Rashbam says, she has to be Moicha even though she's married, and someone could make a chazak. Amr Rav Kahana Rav Asi Rav. They told Rav, Hadar Be'imar Mishmaitze. Rav said on the Beis that he could not be Machzik B'nichse Eshes. Yet Rav just paskened here like the Dayane Goyla who said Machzikin. Amr Lahu, he told them, Amri Mistaver Amri could Rabbi Yosef. What he probably meant when he said Halacha Kedayane Goyla is the way Rabbi Yosef explained. Of course, Rabbi Yosef lived long after Rav, but it's the way Rabbi Yosef explained Rav yesterday that Rav only holds that Ein Machzikim Nichse while he's married. So once she's not married anymore, then she has to be moicha in someone who might still be in her field. Okay, Gewalt. Zok tehele Gemara weiter. A woman cannot make a chazaka in the property of her husband. Once again, because there's a good explanation why the husband wouldn't have thrown her out, because of mezonos. Why do I need a Mishnah to tell me that? Even the Islam mezoni sure she's in this field eating, but that's because she's entitled to mezonos. Hakol yoidin to the payer sheiredes. There was no reason for the Baal to be moicha, because everyone knows it's normal that a woman's going to take payers from her husband's field. What happened is he already set aside field A for her to take her mezainis from. She's now taking from field B. Field B she's not authorized to take from. So maybe you might have thought that you could make a chazaka there. So Mashmalon, even there, he'll look the other way because it's his wife. Nevertheless, he won't be upset if she takes more pairs from a field that she was not supposed to take from. Therefore, there won't be a chazaka. So the Gemara takes the same route as the Gemara took when we talked about him not being able to be machzik of her raya yesh. But if she had a star that says that he sold her a property, it would be a good sale. As Rishbam says, have a mechakayim. The Gemara lema legluye zuze hudaboy. Maybe he doesn't really trying to sell her anything. The reason why he sold her is because anything that she has, mashakana isha kanabaila, and she was hiding money that he didn't know about. So he figured he'd offer her his field for sale, and when she comes up with the money, he'll say, "Oh, so you do have that money? That's really all my money." As the Rashbam says, "Lema abal aval pisha karka nikle bekesef." Even though you could be koine karka with kesef, moisa lo shikibalti mimena lekani lahakak. I'm not being mocked at her the karka with the kesef that she gave me. I only wanted to reveal legli zuzabina moisa tmina mimeni. She hid some of my money. V'nis kavanti legalois li moisa. All I wanted was to get her to pull out her cash reserves. When I took her kesef kinyan, I didn't take it with the expectation that I'm going to be makna through that, my karka to her. Rather, I was just taking back my money that I was entitled to. I never took the money, or kibalta, I didn't take the money for a kesef kinyan. Now you don't say that. We say there is a right. And the fact that you don't say that, you see from here, you see that that argument is not true, because we do have a diak from our Mishnah that a woman could buy a field from her husband. So let's prove from that Mishnah, from our Mishnah, that if someone sells a field to his wife, she's koinit. So what's wrong if we have such a raya? So because come on, we're soon going to see that there's actually a machloikis as to whether or not, if someone sells a property to his wife, if it's a good sale, or he can always claim, I was just trying to reveal if you had any hidden money. So Ema haraya yesh b'shtar matana. You know where there's a raya? By a shtar matana. If I'm gifting her a field and I'm not asking her for any money, well, you can't say my intention is to reveal that she has money, because I'm not even asking her for money. That's where a shtar would be a good shtar and it would be a good sale. By a shtar matana. The hasam gamar v'nosan the lekka glu yizuzei. There's no money exchange. You weren't with us in the Besmedrish. You missed really good stuff. We had a really good conversation. We learned unbelievable, interesting things, and you missed it. Why is the Besmedrish referred to a Techuma? Zok Rashbam. The Techuma, Batim Midrash Shalahen, Besoif Atchumai. They were at the end of the Tchum, out of the city. Why? They wanted their shul to be available to people from nearby cities. Maybe there were nearby cities that didn't have shuls. So they would make their shuls at the end of the tchum. This way, it would be close enough to other cities so that other people from other cities could join. Damrina Mili Mal Yosy. We had really a good Torah over there. Amarle, my Mili Mal Yasa Amrisu. So tell me over what it was. Rav Huna asked Rav Nachman, please share with me what exactly the interesting Torah that was discussed yesterday was. So Zok Gemara, Hamoicher Sadala Ishtay. If someone sells a field to his wife, Kansa, she is koina, V'loy Amrinan, L'gli Yezuzei Hudaboy. We don't say that he was just trying to reveal that she has money. Amarle, so Rav Huna told Rav Nachman, that's the great chiddush that I missed. Shita, of course it's poshut, because dal zuzei mehacha v'stikne b'shtar. Even if the money wasn't a good kinyan, there's going to be a star. As the Rishbam says, Amalei heichadika star mechira. If there's a star mechira, afilu leglu yezuzei mechavin the kabbalas hamois. Even if the acceptance of the money was just to get his own money back, but not to make the sale, still have a kinyan gomer. Why? There's dal zuzumahacha. Forget the money. There's another way where a kinyan could have happened. Particularly b'shtar mechira. She would have been koined with the shtar mechira. The gabemoyis who the ikal meimer kabbalas moyis halalu loylikni. Dafka lagabe the money. You could say that the money wouldn't be considered a kinyan. The legluya zuzun is chavin ul because the husband was taking his own money back without any intent whatsoever to be making the field. But the shtar mechira, you can't make that argument that he wrote a shtar because he wanted the money. Ella hareyu kishtar matana. It'll be like a shtar matana, which has no involvement of money. Takal moiden boy lekaman the concept. Earlier we said, and the Gemara is going to say later, that everybody agrees that our shtar matana works because there's no argument of legluya zuzah. The The question is, if he only wanted his money back, he should never have written the shtar mechira. He should have stuck to only a kinyan kasef, which he would invalidate by claiming that he was taking his own money back. The fact that he backed it up with a shtar, that shtar could be a kinyan in and of itself. It must be that he was maknit to her. You can't say you can't say that the only reason why he gave her the shtar is because had he not presented her that shtar, she would never have given him the money. The shtar is also part of the ploy of Legluya Zuzay, and not really a kinyan. Legluya Zuzay is chavin gam b'ksiv as a shtar. The kolkach loy masik in shadaita. A person doesn't go to such a length. A person wouldn't write a star in order to make a luyezuzeh. Therefore, the fact that there's a star here is a reason why you would say that it was a good mechir. Mi loy tanam, didn't we learn? So we're going to prove that a star would work. Nechasim sheish lo machrayis, like karkaos, niklin bekesef, ubishtar, ubechazok. So you see your koine karka with a star. Amar lei, that's not a riot. V'lav itmar law, Amar Shmuel. Didn't Shmuel say, Loi shanu, ela b'shtar matana, aval b'shtar mecher, loi kana, achit loi damel. Didn't we just say that that's dafka by a star matana? That's the type of star that's koine. But by a star mecher, you need the money. And once again, maybe it's just l'gli, as you say. Correct the Gemara, but that's not a tiny either. V'lav moitzev Rav Hamnuna, wasn't Rav Hamnuna already slugged up? Because Rav Hamnuna said, I'm sorry, V'lav moitzev Rav Hamnuna, didn't Rav Hamnuna already say, which would neutralize any raya from the brisa that we just quoted? I'm sorry, which would neutralize the raya that we're trying to bring from Shmuel, who we just quoted. Bishtar ketzad. When we say shtar, what does it mean? Kasav loy al niyar, oy al acheretz, aval b'shein b'shav pruta, sadai mechur lach, sadai nesuna lach, harezi mechur nesuna. So you see clearly that this isn't just a star matana. You see the star mecher as well works. So the Gemara comes back. No, it's not a riot. Sure, he asked the kasha, but he answered as well. The type of star mechira that we're talking about is a star mechira where the husband or anyone selling doesn't care about receiving money right away. When do you say a star mechira doesn't work before he receives money? That's a good field that people want to buy. Therefore, he's not trying to sell until he receives money. But if he has a really bad field that he's trying to unload and he's just trying to sell it to anybody who wants to buy it, there the star alone will in fact make the king. Okay, let's have a look over here in the Rashbam. Milay Tanan. So at this point in the Gemara, just so we can hold cheshbon of where we're going over here. First, the Gemara said there was a chiddush said that if a woman sells a property, it's a good sale. That was the unbelievable halacha that was said in the Besmedrash when Rav Huna missed it. So Rav Huna said, I didn't miss anything. It's pashut because there was a star here. You might say l'gli zuzeh, but not if he wrote a star. If you write a star, that shows he's serious. And I'm going to prove it to you, Zak Rav Huna, from a brisa that says you could sell with the star and there's no money discussed. You see, it's thinking of kesef ubishtar v'chazaka, meaning star will work even though there's no money discussed. So you see that the star isn't dependent on the kesef; the star is independent. Let's see the Rashbam. Miloy Tanan, because Hokadaydach, the afilu b'shtar mechira ka'amar, the kani v'lo nisinas mois. We're bringing a raya that the star mechira could be a kinyan even without any mois. The given the cause of the star mechira, ein yecholin oid lachser zebazeh. Once you write a star mechira, even though there was no money yet exchanged, the chiyuv is chal already, and the kinyan is done. So basically, what would happen is it would transfer the ownership of the field to the buyer, and now the buyer owes money to the seller, even though the buyer has not yet given that money. So at this point in the Gemara is saying that it's pashut that through a star it should work. Zokt of Nachem back, no, it's not so pashut. It's still a chiddush because v'lav itmer law the b'shtar matana mari avol star mecher loikon. So once again, it is a chiddush that you could sell to your wife. Because if you only had the brisa, I would have thought that only a star of a gift would work where there's no money. But a star of a mecher, I might say, I'm still only doing it for the money. Kamash malon that it's a good sale. The Amalei Rav Huna Rav Nachman, it's still not a good chiddush. It's still pashut because v'lav moitzev Rav Hamnuna l'Shmuel, Rav Hamnuna Shmuel Akash, Alma star mecher namikon. Because what did Rav Hamnuna ask? Rav Hamnuna asked the following: B'shtar ketzad, kasav le'el niyar lacheres, aval b'shem b'shav pruta, sadi mechurla, sadi nesunalach. So you see, beferish the star alone, without any kesef, is not only to create a matana, but it'll create a mechira as well. So once again, it's poshut that the woman who sells with the star should be a good sale, and therefore vakati my milim al yosa. What is the great chiddush of what was said in the Besmedrash? Hareza mechura nesuna. The Amal Rab Nachman told him, no. It's still a chiddush. You know why? Because you know what type of star mecher you, Rav Hamnuna, are quoting in the name of Shmuel works. That's a star mecher where I was so desperate to get rid of the property. There, I'm happy to give you the property with the star and have you owe me the money. Lavar minyan hasam the perikrishin the kedushin the Rav Hamnuna Mosavla the guy mefargla the achbraisa the katani star mecher koina. It's only b'moicher sadeu mepnei ra'asa kakara. When you sell a kakara with a star, there I want the sale to happen even before I receive money because I want it to become irrevocable. Because I know it's not going to be that easy to find a buyer. And I'm happy that I'm happy with the vendor take back and you'll pay me when you have the money. I'm happy that the lekeach has the money until I collect it, meaning it'll be a vendor take back. But that's only when you have a property you're trying to unload. But by a normal property, even with the Kinyan star, it doesn't work unless there's money exchanged, and that's Shmuel's chiddush. The star only works if it's paid for. And therefore, it was still a great chiddush that they said in the Besmedrash that a woman with a star mechira will say she bought it, and we won't say that the husband was not sincere. He only did it because he was trying to get money out of her. He was trying to uncover money that she had hidden. You don't say that because so far a person wouldn't go to write a star. Gewaltig. That is the first shot as to why it was a chiddush. Rabbi Ashi has a different approach. The star mecher is in fact a star matana. Rabbi Ashi, don't bring me a raya that a star mecher works. A star mecher doesn't work, and therefore it's a milim al yosef, what was said in the Besmedrash, that a star mecher would work for a lady. Because all these brises, even though it says sadi mechurlach, it doesn't really mean that he's selling it to her for money. He's giving it to her as a matana. The matana bikush litnala. He was just giving her a gift. So if you're trying to give her a gift, why didn't you write in the star that it was a matana? Why would you write that it was a mechira? Why did he write a lashon mecher on a star that's only a matana? Today, to make it a better gift. What does that mean? Zok the Heilige Rashbam. Rav Ashi Yomar b'matana bika shliten loy v'atkavto dahach brayso davakasha l'Shmuel. He's going on this brayso that we had from Shmuel, where Shmuel said a mecher is a star mecher works. It wasn't really speaking about a star mecher at all. It's a normal thing. It's normal that when you write a star matana, you want to give something to somebody, the star will record it as if you sold it to them. Why? Because it makes the position of the mekabel stronger. Why is that? The halacha is when you sell something, there's normally a chrayis, meaning if the likeach's property gets seized, then he can go back after the moicher for compensation. But that only works if you buy a property. If you get a property gifted to you, you have no recourse to go back to the noishin matana. Now, from the fact that there's a chrayis, from the fact that they can come back after me, if I sell a property, that gives me a right to involve myself in the din Torah, because I have a position here, because I'm relative here. I'll have to pay out otherwise. So therefore, Shemi Arolov, Yavoy Hanoishan Lefatsoisoi, Hidin Moicher, the Lehavit Harimasili. If they just give a star matana and the Ma'ar came to the Makawa matana, I wanted to go to court to help testify, to help make arguments. They would say, La Bal Peasant would throw me out. This doesn't involve you at all. But if I wrote in the star mecher, now I'm involved, because technically the person who received it could come back after me for the money. So that gives me a right to have standing in court to fight on behalf of the Mekabel Matana. So that's why it would be normal for someone who's giving a Matana to write in it a Loshem Mecher. The Gabn Sunatila. It's both. And there's a whole Shaila in Tosfos, if the star only says Sadi Mechur, or if it says both, or if there are two stars, because there's also advantages to a star matana. So Areza Mechur Aliyah is Achar Yusa Ala Noisin Kedin Mecher. It has the Maila of a Sada that was sold, because now there's a Chrayas on the Mecher, so he can involve himself in the event that there's an error. The Gam Nasunahi, what's the Maila of a Nasuna? The less Mishum Dinda Bar Metra. We know the halach is you could give your field to anybody, and you don't have to be subject to giving it to your neighbor first. But if you're selling a field, then your neighbor has a right to it first. So he could have written both these things to avoid any problems. Tosfos doesn't like that. You have a star that says both. What is it? So Tosfos says you'd actually have two separate stars. Star Mechir and Star Nesina. If a Ma'ar came, you would show the Star Mechira, and therefore the giver is allowed to get involved in your defense. And if a Bar Metra comes, you'll pull out the Star Matana. I don't know what you'll do if a Bar Metra comes with ear, then you'll have a problem. That's like when the guy from the tuition committee calls to read you a shidduch. You have to tell him you're rich, but you have to tell him you're poor at the same time. It becomes a little bit confusing. The Armina above Metzia. Matana, unless Mishum Dina Bar Metra, Matana doesn't have a Bar Metra. The Mecher with the Matana. So that's why there's a Yifu Koyach, because there's a benefit to Matana, there's a benefit to Mecher. You're giving this, the Kabul Matana, both benefits. Okay, so that takes us to the end of the Sugya. At the end of the day, we see there is a Shaila whether or not the Mechira of a woman works, but it seems from our Maskana that the good things that were discussed in the Besmedrash by Rab Nachman were that if a wife purchases a property from her husband and there's a star involved, there's a star mecher, that would be a good mecher. And you don't say he only took the money legluye zuzeh. Zok the heilige gemara weiter. Meisvei. Lava mina evet. What happens if you borrow money from an evet and you write a star that you own $100,000, v'shicherai, and then he was freed? Or mina isha, you borrowed money from a woman, v'girsha, and then she got divorced. The halach is ein lahen olav klum. They don't owe this evet any money. He doesn't owe the isha any money. Let's have a look at the Rashbam. Love an evet. V'chazav shtar milva v'shibud le'nechasim. So somebody was mishabed his nechasim to an evet. So the Allah, or somebody was mishabed his nechasim to his wife. We say that it's not any chiyuv at all. My time. Why do we say that? I borrowed money fair and square, and I'm mishabed my nechasim. Lav mishum the amrinon legli zuzeh dubai. It must be for the same svara, and that is, I was never mishabed my nechasim when I borrowed money from you. In fact, I only told you that I was borrowing money from you, but I wasn't really borrowing money from you, because whatever money you have as an evet, I'm the otna belongs to me. Whatever money you have as an isha, I'm the baal, it belongs to me. So therefore, there is no loan here at all. So you should have arrived from here that there's this svara of legli zuzeh dubai. The star mecher shouldn't be a good star either. More shiny hasam the lenichalei is l'shavi nafshe eved level ishmal. We know that it's very bad to be in a position of a loiva. So when it comes to a sale, there's nothing uncomfortable, dishonorable about selling property. So I don't mind writing the star mechira, even though it's not really a sale. There you still might say that the star mechira is only legli zuzeh dubai. But to make yourself into a loiva, to make you look like you have a liability and you're an eved loiva lishmava, no one's going to do that for the purposes of legli zuzeh, and therefore it must be a legitimate loan. Zokt Rashi, the lemotzi lemishav nafshi a non tzahade. So the Rashbam says it goes to the level of a non tzahade. We have clarity. The shum adam lo yiber tzaynoi eved loiva. Nobody would ever want to be in such a position im yochel yifater b'shuminyan. If he wouldn't have to, the hilchach there you say it must be leglu yizuzeh. Oh, so it's exactly the opposite. There's a much stronger swear of leglu yizuzeh, because why would someone ever want to make himself into a loiva? The fact that he made himself into a loiva means there must be a very pressing reason for it, and there must be the glui zuzay. Avagabe mecher, there's no. He might have just made a legitimate sale. Gomer makna shari einay nasa eved lei v'hach shtar mechira. Well, he doesn't become an eved by selling. It's a regular sale. The afilu kibul achrayis a daim nitfa ben alakayach klav eved legabe. There's no obvious until there's a money being owed. So therefore, it's exactly the opposite of how I explained it, and I apologize. Where do you say leglu yezuzeh when someone does something that he would never normally have done? No one would ever normally make himself into a loiva from his eved, a loiva from his wife. So the fact that he's doing it is in and of itself unusual. It must be that there's an ulterior motive of leglu yezuzeh. But in mecher, people sell things all the time. There's nothing dishonorable about selling. So therefore, minei bay in the mecher, you don't have a raya that it was leglu yezuzeh. So therefore, you could say that it's not leglu yezuzeh. Shani Hasam Blanichle Chabi Nafshay Evedoi Lishma. Shalach Avunu Baravan. Unu Baravan sent the following halacha. Hamoicher Sadal Ishtoi Kansa. If you sell a field to your wife, you're kind. Rashi says, Ram says, Talmida Besamedrash. I guess he was away. He sent them a postcard. And in the postcard, it said that Hamoicher Sadal Ishtoi Kansa. Ubal, turning on to Amid Beis, Ubal Oichel Paris. But the Baal will eat the pears. Why will the Baal eat pears? Like any other field that a woman owns, that a married woman owns, her husband's entitled to the pears. What happens if after they were married, she yashin the property belongs to her, and her husband gets to eat the pears. So if she bought a property from her husband, it would be in that same status. Bram, however, Rabbi Abba Rabbi Vo, the whole Gedolei Adar Amru, and all the Gedolei Adar said, B'matana bikesh litman. He really wanted to give it to her b'matana. Like the svar we said earlier, people sometimes write mecher, a matana b'loshem mecher, u'lo makazav lo l'shem mecher, kidei liyafa says koyach. Now this here is a very interesting line. What's the difference if it's matana? Zok Rashbam, if it's matana, he's not entitled to eat the pears. Zok Rashbam b'matana bikesh litman v'lo yachol pears. And therefore, the husband couldn't eat pears. So if he sells her a property, he gets to eat the pears. If he gifts her a property, he's gifting it to her totally, and he doesn't get to eat the pears. Come on, like we're going to soon say, b'matana kansa ve'ena bal echel pears. If someone's gifting it, if he's gifting it to her, it means he really wants to give it to her fully, not give her and then take back pears. So if he gives it to her, that's a sign that he's been misalik himself. It's like someone who gifted her something, he's giving it to her completely, severing himself from it. But if he only sold it to her, the expectation is he's going to keep the pears. This is how the Rashbam learns. But the problem with this approach, one of the problems that Tosfos asks, is why would somebody send a halacha? So if when you said a halacha that a moichashat lishtoi, Kanu balachal pears, and then directly contradict himself. But the Gedolei Adar argue with me and tell me that it's a matana, and therefore she doesn't get pears. It's like a little weird thing to say. He's sending halacha, and in the same postcard he's saying, but everybody disagrees with me, and therefore I'm wrong. So therefore Tosfos learns that, in fact, when you write a mecher, you're really giving her a matana. V'lama kazav lo l'shemecher kidei liyafes koichoi. The Rabbi Tam has a gears of koichoi, and koichoi is so that he should have a benefit. He wants to be able to continue eating pears. So therefore, he's giving her a gift. There's really no money involved, but he's using a lashon mecher because even though he's giving her a gift, he still wants to retain for himself the right to eat pears. And we're afraid to come our meisvei. Lova mina eved v'shichroi mina isha v'girsha, exactly the same shackle of we had a moment ago. Ein lahen alav klum. Why? My time. Lav mishum the amrinon legli yezuzah hidaboy, and it's not a raya. So maybe the alva was the same thing. The tomorrow shiny awesome the lalish v'inish eved loive lishmal. Again, the same svar again. When you sell, then maybe it's a legitimate sale. But by a loiva here, no one would do that to themselves unless they really wanted to uncover something. Nobody would want to become a loiva. And therefore, we would surely say that you don't have a right to mech. Okay, about it. Amara, hamoicher sadol ishtoi kanz. If someone sells a field to his wife, she will be koined the abal oichel pears, and therefore the baal can continue eating pears, similar to any other property that she would yard. But the matana, if a man gives her wife something with a from matana, then kanza the ein habal oichel pears. Rabbi Lozer Eimer, echad zeh ve'echad zeh kanza ve'ein habal oichel pears. Say if you gift something to your wife, and say if you sell something to your wife, the baal does not have pears. Avad Reb Chisda uvda karabelos. Reb Chisda paskin halacha l'maisa by somebody who sold a property to his wife, and Reb Chisda said he does not get pears. Amalei Rabban Ukva, Rabban Nechamia, b'nei Barti de Rav. So the grandchildren of Rav commented to Reb Chisda, I don't understand. Shavak Mai Rav Ravi, v'avid kazutri. Why would you paskin like Rabbi Lozer? Why would you paskin like Rabbi Lozer that echad zeh ve'echad zeh kanza ve'eina bal oichel pears when we have a Rav who said hamoicher shadol ishtoi kanza ve'bal oichel pears? And the Rishbam explains that Rabbi Lozer was a Talmud of Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabbi Yochanan was even subservient to Rav. So why would you paskin like the Talmud, like Rabbi Lozer, when you can paskin like Rav, who's the great? And Rav said that in fact, if you sell a property to your wife, you do get to eat the pears. So Shavik Mar Ravavi, Bavid Kazutri, Amalei no, Anan Nami Karavavi Avdi. I'm not just paskin like Rabbi Lozer, I'm paskin like Rabbi Yochanan. The Chiyasa Rabin, Rabbi Yochanan, Echad Zeh, Ve'echad Zeh, Kansa, Ve'nabal Echel pears. So I don't understand this line, because the Rishbam just explained that the Tanya of Rabbi Ukva and Rabbi Nechemia was, why would you pass even like Rabbi Yochanan against Rav, who's a great? So what did he answer, Christo? Rabbi Yochanan's great. But didn't we just say that Rabbi Yochanan was also subservient to Rav? So I'm not sure how Rabbi Christo is supporting himself by saying, yeah, I'm not passing like Rabbi Lozer. Rabbi Yochanan also says it. But the Rishbam already said that even Rabbi Yochanan would have accepted from Rav. So I'm not sure if anyone speaks about that, but that's what was bothering me. Amarava, Hilchasa, Halacha Lamaisa, Hamoicher Sada Lishtoi, if someone sells a Sada to his field, Loi Kansa, she's not Kaina, which means if she's not Kaina, it means you say Legluya Zuzah Hudasa, the Abal Lechel pears. Now that makes no sense at all, because if she wasn't Kaina, it's his. What do you mean by Abal Lechel pears? Abal Lechel pears is mashma that the Kenyan works, but even though the Kenyan works, he eats the pears. Here we have a steer dika pshat. We have a steer dika halacha. Loi kansa means it's completely his, and not and then it's a valach pears, which would indicate that she bought the goof. So the Gemara is going to get back to that in a second. The matana, if someone gives a gift to his wife, the matana kansa beina valach pears. Fake more tarti. How could you say valach pears and loi kansa at the same time? It depends what type of money she used. Kan b'mois tumunin. If the money that she paid with it was money that he never knew about, that proves that in fact he never wanted to sell it. But in this case, that's where it's loy comes. But the abal loichel pears is if the money that she used to pay with it, he knew she had. It was on her dresser. So if there was money that she had in her open account and everybody knew about it, and the husband knew that she had that money and was happy with it, sure, that's a good sale, but abal loichel pears. But if she comes up with money that he never knew she had, clearly, that's only legluya zuzay, and it's not a sale at all. Damar Rabbi Yehuda, moish tumunin is loy kanta, but moish ain't tumunin is kanta. Let's just finish to the bottom of Amid Taner Rabbanon and Mekablan Pikdoinais. We don't accept the Pikadon, loymin anoshim, because we're afraid that what she's giving to you, she has a Rolex that she's giving to you as a Pikadon. Maybe it's her husband's. Maybe they took it from their master. And not from children. But kabel isha, what if you wrongfully accepted a pikadon from a woman? When the term is over, you actually she's allowed to give it back to her. You don't have to go behind her back and give it to her husband. You can assume it was hers. The amazing, but if she died, yachshar levaila, because regardless, he would yachshar her. Kibel min. What if you're makabel a pikadon from an eved? Yachshar eved, you still give it back to the eved if he's alive. The mace yachshar rabbi, and kibel min katan. If you were makabel from a katan, Yasalo skula. You don't give it back to the cotton because he'll lose it. He'll mess it up. So you have to protect it for him, and save it for him, so you can give it back when he's an adult. The mace yashal yarshal. Okay, we'll stop here, Bez Hashem, and we will continue tomorrow. Shkoyach, have a wonderful day. You know, Klal Yisrael should have a Yeshua. I know Gary Spivak flew yesterday to Eretz Yisrael for his grandson's bris, and there's many people that are there, and Hashem should give me Yeshua. They should be able to move back already. People who are uprooted from their homes. We should have Yeshuas and brachas.
Amen.
Yeah, have a good day.